Hello, people. This is Lee Cole 3, and I'm with my partner, James Proctor, and we have an interesting guest here today. But first, I'd like to say, James, how you doing today?
Hey, doing really good. How are you today?
Good. And we have a gentleman here by the name of Pat. He has Wiseguy TV. Uh, two, I've known him for about 2 years and watched his show grow. And I'm going to tell you something, Pat. I'm very impressed with your videos, but we'll get into that in a minute. Is there anything you'd like to say before we start?
Just thank you for having me on. I think it's been a long time coming to come speak with you, because me and you, we had sort of had our differences. Not really. We had a little bit of words here and there.
Yeah.
But overall, I've been watching you for 2 years, man, and I love your show, and I think you're going to go somewhere with it, honestly. So that's about it.
Well, we just decided to take a different direction and stay out of the drama.
I was also, I think James is a great asset. He brings something great to the table. The two of you together, it's you got something good here, man. I see it blowing up quick, real quick.
Thank you.
You know, I'm going to show a part of one of the videos you made on the Mayweather fight, and I'm going to tell you, your work is so quality. It's so well done. It's like watching an actual TV show, and you have you have children, and you're very busy. You have a job. And I remember talking to you before and asking you about your videos, and you said like you put out one a month. But after you telling me about how busy your life is, and I'm looking at the quality, so how long does it take you to put one of these videos together?
Man, see, I guess part of me is a perfectionist. I would say now. In the beginning, I really just didn't know what I was doing. I was just slapping stuff together. But nowadays, there's some that took me 3 weeks to make, 4 weeks to like. I keep going back to the research, and then you got to double check things, triple check things, because the first like 20 videos I did, you read the comments and like, this is wrong, that picture ain't that guy, this guy ain't that. So I had to learn the hard way. You got to really check your facts with this mob stuff. These people know what they're talking about, man. But yeah, it takes time if you want to do it correctly, and you don't want to put out some half-ass work because you want them to come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going to talk. I'm sorry, James. Go right ahead. I apologize.
No, I was just going to say I'm impressed as well with your pronunciation of the Italian names, Italian last names. And it takes a while to get that down, but you do very well with that. So.
It's funny you say that, because like some books will say these guys' names a certain way. I'll say it the same way, and then the people in the comments like, yo, that's not how you say his name. So how the hell do you find out? I hear someone else's video saying it one way. Like, for instance, Gerlando Sciascia. I heard these shorts calling him Sciascia. So when I did research, I called him that, and people were like, yo, what are you talking about? Then I read a book, and they're calling him Shasha. So,
yeah, and it looks like Sciascia. And I know even Lee and I kind of had that discussion.
That Shasha name. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It's just crazy, some of those names.
And as you know, I really have a reputation for twisting
the
name. It's good. But I've improved a lot, but I still do it,
Dude, we love it. We love that you pronounce them like that. Everyone gets a kick out of that. It's great.
Well, I'm going to show a little bit of your video here because I want to show the quality of work you do. So if people don't, if people haven't gone to your channel, they really should go to your channel. And what I'm going to do in the ticker down here, I'm going to put, now that's Wiseguy TV and it's official. And you make sure you put the TV in because you happen to name your show off a pretty popular show that was back when I was young.
Yeah.
Wiseguys.
Yep.
So I'm going to play some of this and just show the quality of the work.
At the end of the day, I don't have to brag. I don't have to boast. I don't have to tell y'all what I can do. The world knows what I can do, so he has to show the world what he can do.
It is possible Floyd felt slighted by the fans for making the young Gotti a fan favorite and wanted to shut them up by boxing circles around Gotti and taunting him just to rub it in. But according to John Minucci of Team Gotti, who made a guest appearance on Angel Gotti's YouTube channel, Team Gotti felt disrespected by Mayweather and believed Floyd may have had the fight stopped by his personal traveling ref, Chip Bayless, out of fear Gotti could have turned the fight around. Let's hear what Team Gotti had to say.
It's crazy. Mayweather's got a lot of people in his pocket. Everybody, he brings that referee with him everywhere he goes. Every fight, that ref is in his pocket. So basically what happened was, and you can hear all the commentary, you'll see all the videos that come out. He says he warned both teams to stop talking trash. People could say that. But what happened was he warned them about talking trash and the things that were said in the ring.
Now, what kind of things were said in the ring?
I
heard something. I heard, you know what, go ahead. And then I'll tell you.
No, I don't want to repeat it. There was a lot of profanity spoken on both parties.
Okay.
And, you know, it's a normal boxing match. And Mayweather, I believe, in my opinion, he came out, he tried to make an example out of John. And John took every single one of his shots, the whole first round, took all of his shots.
And still stand.
Still stood. Went 6 rounds. Of course, there's going to be trash talking, but Mayweather thought he could make an example out of John, which it didn't happen. I'm going to be respectful. I respect Mayweather's record and his boxing career, but this was definitely a joke. It was. I couldn't believe what he did, the taunting and everything. And then when John gave it back to him, he didn't like it. And if you noticed, Mayweather was hitting him behind the head.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And there is a
video of that. Yes.
Where John turned around to the ref and said, "Yo, he hit me behind the head." And Mayweather came in with a cheap shot while he was talking to the ref and hit him with a jab right in the face. John took it, and if you notice, John gave him a left hook and it backed him up.
Right.
He took about 3 steps back after he took that hook from John. Could John have been more aggressive in the beginning rounds? Yes, but it doesn't take away from.
Did we lose you?
You're on mute.
I am.
You're on mute.
No, I am.
Lee is.
Okay, so I like the way you did this because it looked very neat and very clean. And what is your goal when you put these videos together?
Well, for that one, I wanted to make sure that what Angel was saying, I wanted to make sure that point got put out there clearly, like you said, because I was listening to everyone else and they were just trashing this kid. But there was truth to what this guy was saying, Minucci, you know? Mayweather definitely came out swinging like he's never has before. Do you want to get into the Mayweather fight?
Yeah, we can talk about it. Here's why I want to talk about it a little bit. You know, you hear people, I'm going to put something up I want you to see. Here's how popular the fight, this is the fight right there. You see this graph right here?
Yeah.
You see that line going to the very top to 100?
Yeah.
On the bottom there, that's John Gotti's name right there. Look at it compared to all the other shows combined. And then it had a spike there. John Gotti to this day still consistently gets more clicks than any of these guys by far. But during that time, people have to understand this thing was so big all over the internet. And then it spiked 5 days later, it spiked again.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy, right? Isn't that crazy? The guy, Gotti, has been dead since, 2002?
Yep.
Yes.
So we're talking about 21 years later. And do you know how many of these mob channels are built off his name? Not per se even just off his name, but we wouldn't have John A. Light. We wouldn't have Sammy LeBeau. We wouldn't have Mike Cars. We'd have Michael Franzese, you know?
Right.
But that's about it. That's where it would end. The other guys did get maybe some clicks and stuff, but it would be nowhere near what it is with Gotti's name. It's crazy. He's a legend, man. I wrote a post about that the other day. And people are coming at me. He was the worst boss. I never said he was a great boss or even a good boss. I said he's the most famous, gangster of all time. He's there's no way around it, and he's responsible for 90% of these channels, mine included, yours too, probably, Lee.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Right thing, all that, man. So I hate when I hear people trying to say Gotti ain't shit, he ain't relevant, bro. He's actually creating businesses for people. His name still to this day.
To this day, you know, he's like an Elvis Presley. You know, when Elvis had that big after he died. For 25 years, he always had #1 songs or people buying his stuff.
Yeah,
it's something like that. Some people have it. Very few people have it. Al Capone had it.
Yep. Al Capone.
And people don't realize Al Capone was only in charge until he was 32 years old and he went to prison. Well, he took over when he was in his mid-20s. He was the boss for a less amount of time than John Gotti, which people don't realize. And also, Capone had the same situation as Gotti. He went through a couple trials because they were trying to put him away. They have a lot in common when it comes to this. They weren't in long enough. Very few bosses last a long time. Would you say that's accurate?
I'd agree with that. Yeah, man. I think a show. I hate giving up my ideas because people get to them before me. Every time I say something, it gets done like right away. But a show needs to be done on the bosses who made it without even seeing jail time and retired home, with millions. That interests me. That's what everyone's goal is.
Well, that's another thing. People will talk about John Gotti Jr. John Gotti Jr. went through 5 trials.
5 trials, man.
And he admitted he did a 302. He didn't hide it.
Right.
And then on top of that, though, look at his children, look at his home, look at his life, what he's created since that time.
And all those people who turned on him, the first 4 trials, the 5th trial, everybody was trying to throw him under the bus, man. He tried to, I guess the way Angel said it, man, he tried, illegal maneuver or something like that.
Yes.
I mean, what would you do if you're on just got acquitted on your 4th trial and now you're going to a 5th? Like,
that's how they break you. But a lot of these a lot of these tough guys that think how easy it is, they don't realize that John Gotti Jr. spent most of his time in lockup.
Yeah,
23-hour lockup.
Yeah, he was in the shoe, and also I believe on the 5th trial that he was in, that he was facing the death penalty as well. They were trying to look at doing the death penalty.
I remember the one A-Light testified.
Yeah, the one A-Light testified, yes.
And I believe Scars did as well, from what Angel said.
Yeah.
And people don't realize Sammy Gravano was never locked down, ever, until he went back for the drug charges. He was never he was with John Gotti when they got arrested. He was never locked down. They didn't even have to put pressure on, they didn't even have to break Gravano. Gravano broke on his own.
You know what I think about Gravano is he always planned to look out for Gravano. He didn't give a damn about nobody.
No.
He was his own entity. He had his own little crew. Like you in that email you sent me, he killed all his damn friends. He cared about nobody but himself, and he knew when it came down to it, he ain't going to prison for this. Put it on.
And he never did serious time either before all of that. He never really did any time.
Didn't he get arrested once?
Yeah, some minor stuff, nothing major.
Right.
One time.
Yeah.
And and we're talking about that, and we're talking about, so you got Louis Mileto was his best friend.
Melito. Yeah.
Yeah, Melito. Louis Melito was his best friend. And Louis even though he was the best friend, he had a falling out with Sammy. And Louis Melito at that time made the mistake of going into business with Tommy Bilotti after Castellano told him that Sammy felt, then Sammy wanted his business and started telling people that Louis was not being straight up.
Right.
And then Sammy took over his businesses when he went into jail. Louis got some time for something. And when he came out, Sammy sent him away and told him not to come around. Wow. Then he reaches out to Sammy and Sammy reaches out to Louis and says, look, let's get together. Let's discuss this. He comes to the meeting. They put a bullet in his head and his body disappears forever. And that's Sammy Gravano's best friend.
Yeah, that's savage. That's there's no words for that, man. The fact that guys walking this earth free, making tons of money blows my mind. Off of the crimes he committed, he's getting paid for still to this day. He took what? Who was I forget the lady's name, but he took her father's farm over and their farmhouse and stuff like that. Do you guys remember?
Yeah, I can't remember who that was. It was I'll have to go back.
Guy, waste management. Damn.
Are you talking? Well, I could bring up a couple guys. Louis DeBono got shot in the World Trade Center. and and Sammy wanted his business.
Yeah.
Sammy got the permission to kill him, while John Gotti was that was DiBernardo, but so he got the he wouldn't come in because he was afraid he was going to be killed.
Right.
So Sammy went to Gotti, and Gotti said, "Okay, take him out."
And
Sammy took over his unions, his building rackets, everything.
That was on the wiretap, right? Where Gotti know why he's gonna die because he didn't show up.
Yes, exactly.
Those tapes kind of confused me a little bit because, in a way, like, all right, if you're John Gotti, the boss, and you know Sammy's doing this stuff, why are you okaying it to happen too, though? You know, that's the one thing that always makes me wonder, like, what's going on there? You know what I mean?
I think that John Gotti respected Sammy Gravano's word. It was his underboss. Sammy had a reputation on the street of being a moneymaker. And but he also had a reputation of being ruthless.
Yeah.
And nobody messed with Sammy Gravano when he peaked out, when he was getting that peak, and when he became underboss, that was it. But so many guys, and then we also heard John Gotti talk about DiBernardo on the another guy that at this time Gotti was in jail, and he was in the middle of a trial. He eventually got found innocent. But the fact of the matter is, during that time, Quack Quack owed a lot of money to DiBernardo.
Yeah.
Goes and sees John. John gives him permission because Quack Quack goes there and lies to him, saying that he's being insubordinate and stuff.
Yeah.
Quack Quack gets out, gets with Sammy. They kill him. Guess who gets Robert DiBernardo's businesses?
Yeah, they take his business.
Sammy Gravano. And Quack Quack doesn't have to pay him.
That's how he got the union stuff, you know.
I gotta play devil's advocate, and listen. I love John Gotti. I don't care what nobody says, but don't you think he got a cut of that?
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt.
He had to.
But this is business. These are businessmen.
That's not his best friend. These are Sammy's friends, right?
Yeah. But Sammy's the one that's lining them up and having them taken down like ducks.
Right.
Because he has that. You know, he's getting that respect. And even Gotti said that on the wiretaps, that he loved them. And it was like, then he started regretting that all these guys were being killed.
Right.
Yeah.
But by that time, it was too late.
He said it broke his heart. And you know, when I look at John Gotti, a lot of people just think of him being this ruthless guy. They're all ruthless. But what I noticed about, he wasn't as quick to get someone killed, to have someone killed as even Paul Castellano. And what I mean by that is that you had Angelo Ruggiero. He you know what he did with the tapes, what he did running his mouth, being on tape, is
he should have been killed right there. He should have been killed right there.
Yeah. I did a lot of research into what Quack Quack was doing, man, and he was making a mess. He fucked the whole family up. But you know, that shows Gotti's good side. Yeah, he should have most definitely had him whacked without a question. And after the gas pipe hit went wrong, he had a bullet in his head, but he showed them, you know. You gotta give him some credit for that. He ain't completely evil, you know.
Well, and then there was also Willie Boy. Willie Boy, he could have killed Willie Boy day one.
Yeah.
Once he found out Willie Boy was a rat, but then he even gave Willie Boy the opportunity to leave.
Right.
And then Willie Boy started keeping up with his crime spree with his own little gang.
Right.
And then it started making Gotti looking bad. Gotti had to make that decision.
You know, the way I seen that one, Lee, was he found out while they were locked up together, right? Because that Diane or
Jack, that woman,
yeah,
she blew it up the spot. So here's the thing, though. Yeah, he was snitching, but he wasn't going to testify. Gotti had to keep him close, you know? All right, yeah, you're good, buddy. Don't worry. Just don't testify. But I think in the back of his mind, he knew he had to go, man. He was ratting on Gotti and that crew for like 25 years, man. Right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know how much he gave the McBratney murder up.
Yes, he did.
He gave the Quack Quack operation up. the taps, the everything. He gave up everything. This guy, man.
See, a lot of people said Willie Boy was close to John, but he wasn't, because he was ratting on John when they were friends and when they were young friends.
Young friends, man.
So he was always, because the feds brought him in the 60s. He started ratting out in the 60s.
Yeah, he was ratting with the feds, then got busted by NYPD and started ratting to them too secretly.
Yes.
He was double ratting on these guys, man. It's crazy.
So do you have any videos on him?
I actually, he's mentioned in my first, I did a video about Tommy Karate and John Gotti's relationship, basically, and their ties are really only Willie Boy.
And if anybody wants to see those, go to Wiseguy TV, and it's really good stuff, people.
Thank you. It's very detailed. Those ones are a little older, so the quality isn't as up to par as I am now. Now I try to do
dude, I just put up a video. The first person I ever interviewed here was Jimmy Calandra, and I put it up. It was horrible, dude. I kept calling him Calandra. I mean,
better than Calamandria. Shit.
Oh yeah, it's not Calamandria at least, sir. You know,
man.
Clitius, whatever. You know, and then we're going to get into Alan Kaiser. And we're putting this up because we're discussing Sammy, because we're going to go into Mikey Scars and Sammy.
Right.
But now let's see. Alan Kaiser was a 16-year-old kid. He just dropped his girlfriend off, and he was walking home, and he was a witness, and he got murdered.
Yeah.
But and here's what happened. Sammy came out and did a video and said the kid ran at him and it was acting like a crazy drug addict. But the autopsy report showed he was running away. There were no drugs in his body. So he wasn't a druggie.
If I remember it correctly, didn't Sammy whack somebody and that kid was there?
Yeah, no, he didn't whack him. He shot at him. The guy that he shot at, I think his name was Aldo or something, was a biker that beat him up. He beat him up in the bar, broke. And in that fight, Sammy had his ankle broke and he wanted revenge.
Right.
And the kid just happened to be, and it's a shame because that night the kid was excited because he just got a brand new tracksuit. He was walking home his girlfriend, and he's walking home, and then this happens, and they know that he just seen this, so they decided they execute him. But here's the thing: in the original statement that Sammy said to the FBI, he stated that he killed them. He never even brought Louis Molito into this.
Yeah, he won't touch that. He still won't touch that.
Yeah, and now he brings in Louis. You know, when he made that lie up about Alan Kaiser, a lot of people went after him for it. But you know, see, Louis, what he's doing right now is he's creating his own history, Sammy Gravano, because there's nobody around to challenge it until recently. Yeah. Now we have a show called No Excuses.
Yeah, shout out to RJ and Michael, definitely.
And so Mikey was with him in the streets. Mikey was in the same clubs with him, hung out with him, you know. And so you got this guy that's calling him out on everything.
Yeah, that's pretty damn cool, actually. I think the genre needed that because Sammy was getting away with everything, bro. All kinds of bullshit. Yeah. And there's hundreds of thousands of people cheering him on. Like, yeah, Sammy, you're such a great guy. Who cares? You killed 19 people and a little 16-year-old kid, and your best friends and your sister's brother, your brother-in-law, and all that bullshit. It's crazy, man. Look, I don't wish to see anyone in jail. That's not what I'm saying. But the fact he's able to get up here and then trash the families of the victims, you know, rub it in their face, call his kid a junkie and a drug addict, the things he's said about Angel's mom. He's just being a dickhead about, you know, he hasn't changed a bit.
And here's where he made his biggest mistake, I believe. And this is from a show I did. He did a show where he called Mikey DiLeonardo. He said he was nothing more than a hang-around guy. Yep. And do you know what Mikey DiLeonardo's answer was to him? It was a brilliant answer, I think.
I think he said, I was hanging around,
John Gotti.
Gotti, this guy, that guy, yeah.
And so he's basically, and then Sammy backed off of him And
he can't rebuttal. He can't refute them. You know, he can't.
And what are some of the things, James, that he went after him for, that he questioned Sammy and said Sammy was lying?
Yeah, I mean, lots of things, including I have the notes here. So one was talking about you know, how that Sammy was saying Michael didn't have any power. He was, like I said, a hang around guy, but you know, Sammy was actually, I mean, Michael was liked by John Gotti, and he was telling him to go to his club. You know, he was going to Jimmy Brown's club, and Sammy and I'm sorry, John said, "Hey, Michael, you need to come to my club. Come to the Bergen on Saturdays." And it was more of a way to almost like kind of a mentorship with him. But then the other thing was the tapes themselves, and so Michael.
And just so people know, by the tapes, you're talking about the tapes that RJ did, an analysis along with Mikey, and they broke the tapes down like they haven't been broken down before.
It's a multi-part deep dive. They did, I don't know, 8 or 10 shows on it, and so the thing was, is Michael was saying, hey, you know, Sammy kills his friends and takes their businesses, and you know, Sammy's always on his show talking how he's friends with these people, how they look at him as such a great guy, and you know, he still talks to them and all that, and none of that's true. And then, you know, they were talking about how the money was, you know, how in the tapes, you know, Sammy was building a family within a family. That was another thing. And so a lot of stuff.
That's some crazy shit, man. It really is pretty crazy.
So do you think Sammy was building his own crew because maybe he was thinking about taking the family over?
If you're asking me, yeah, he's sinister. In my opinion, he's that sinister of a guy. He was planning. He wanted everything for himself, man. And he knew Gotti probably would have took his ass out sooner or later too. Not because he died, but because Sammy's kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He'd say,
but
that's what his history proves. You know.
Okay. Polly. Okay, and I also did a show.
Oh shit! Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you.
I think I walked out. All right, I had to get the charger.
Might be your Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Go back on.
I did a show. Okay, I did a show called Sammy Gravano versus Joe Watts, who's really an OG, and it was a very popular show. A lot of people watched it, and believe it or not, a lot of people preferred Joe Watts. But Sammy was going to testify or tried to say that Joe Watts was a rat, and there's no evidence whatsoever Joe Watts ever ratted at anybody.
Right.
And so Sammy had the thing where he wanted everybody to be like him, a rat.
Yeah, he wants to like normalize it. Like, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. People rat. We're still good. But whatever he's doing, it seems to be working, because that motherfucker's making probably, what, 50 grand a month doing this shit?
I don't know if you're making that much, but you know what? He's making a lot too because of sponsors. People don't realize when you get to that size of a show, there's a lot of things going on behind where you're making money in other directions. And he probably gets paid speaking fees. Not, you know, like Michael Francis makes big money.
Public speakers. Isn't that amazing? You got street gangster killers out here giving motivational speeches to kids.
That's just nuts.
Well, but because they ratted and had to leave that life. That's different than someone who decided to up and leave because they wanted to change their life around. Right. We're getting, I got in trouble, I got caught, so I had to leave. But don't do what I did, kids. I mean, I guess you could sell that, but I don't know, man.
So Patrick, I'd like to ask you, were you ever around any type of criminal element like that in your life, or?
Absolutely, criminal element, not the mob per se, but at a young age. I had an older brother who passed away in 2013, but at the time, he was into drugs, selling drugs, you know, hanging around kids in gangs and shit like that. And of course, I followed my brother's lead, and then I ended up getting involved in all the same things, selling drugs. No gang activity, that ain't for me. I could care less about fighting people. I just wanted to make money and get high. That's it. And that lasted a long time, man, from like, say 14 to about 26. I got clean for like 2 years. I relapsed. And then I went on Suboxone for a couple years. And then I've been off that now for a couple months. But yeah, I was
Very good.
in criminal activity for a lot of years. Young.
How are you doing now? I mean, are you going in any type of programs or anything like that?
I won't lie to you. No, I did. When I was 26, I did NA for a year. I did step work at a sponsor. I did all that stuff, but I don't know. I kind of gave it up. And then, you know, who the hell wants to actually have to go in and you talk about your feelings and things you don't want to talk about? So it's like, matter of fact, I'm about to be going on drug court for a DUI for crashing my car into a ditch. I blew a 0-0, but the cop says I was high or whatever. So they offered me a drug court program to basically get the charges dropped if I complete. So I got to start that in a couple days. But
so you're going through a lot of things that Americans are going through right now. A lot of young guys like you.
Yeah.
You know, you have your ups and downs, but you have a family.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that family's helping you stay straight? I mean, is that your incentive more than anything right now?
Yeah. Right after my daughter was born, it kind of changed my whole way of looking at life, you know?
Right.
Very, very selfish person. Selfish. Like, it was all about me. And then you have a kid, and it's literally the most selfless act you can imagine. So, it's hard at times, but yes, I love that girl to death, and she's my best friend. So for her, I'll do anything. I'll stay away from everything for her, easy, without even thinking about it.
And you said she's pregnant right now also, right?
Yeah, now I'm about to have a son. And what is she like? Damn, she'll kill me. I don't remember. She's like 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Oh no, the baby, she's about 2 months, 3 months maybe. Pregnant.
Do you find that that doing these videos sometimes helps take your mind off things?
Yeah, definitely. It's like a little bit of a therapy for me. You know what it is? I've always been a creator. Like, that's what I like to do. To me, this is art. That's why I the videos the way I do them. It's like, it's all art to me. And I keep trying to just improve my art. And that's like a form of therapy.
Hey, Pat, when you move around, your mic gets ear in it.
Okay. Yeah. That's my nervous walk.
No problem. Okay. Yeah. So you do find it helps you, because when my brother died and I came into here, YouTube in a way kind of saved me. It made me get nasty and angry at everybody in here. And, you know, it's hard to say, you know, it kind of controlled my feelings about what happened in my life. But, you know, I got through it. So, you know, but I can understand where you're coming from. And I remember, because when I first seen you a couple of years ago, and now everything's coming back to mind, you were going through some tough challenges.
Absolutely. That was me fresh. Yeah. I was fresh off of like drugs. Let's just say drugs. And I was still dabbling with things. And I was kind of messing up. I came a long way since then, man. But you have to grow up at some point. I'm 33 years old. I mean, when do I stop? I know guys who are still going at 50s, 60s. I don't want to be that guy, man.
And then I'm sure you know guys that didn't even get to that point.
Oh, man. Right. I counted one time, it's somewhere around 30 or 40 of my friends died from ODs and shit like that. And that was
now you have this fentanyl on the street that can kill anybody at any time.
Insane. It's scary, yo. There's no such thing as experimenting with drugs no more.
No.
It's like you do drugs.
You could die.
It's scary, especially when you have kids, because now I'm gonna have to worry about all this shit.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro just lost one of his grandchildren, and it was to a pressed fentanyl pill. And the only thing I don't understand about that, I'll be totally honest with you, they arrested the girl that did it, and she told the undercover cop, "Don't take more than one of these because one of my friends just died." So she was talking about De Niro's, and then she got arrested because she admitted she was selling it. And see, this is one thing, you know, sometimes people have to understand that their children that are doing these drugs, it's their fault.
Yeah.
They bought the drug and they keep on doing it. And so we could pass that buck along to that girl that sold him that pill. But
well, here's a funny story now that you say it, not funny at all, but basically the girl who sold my brother the drugs that he died from, she was a prostitute. She was hooking for this pimp named Q. And the guy Q is the one who gave her the bags. She sold them to my brother. But when you're an addict in the street like that, that's how they survive. You know, they feed off of each other. At some days you got the dope and you sell it to your friends. Some days they got the dope, you buy it from them. So when this all happened, I didn't even blame her for a second. But karma comes around. He gives the pimp Q gives the girl Jen a bag of dope. She dies, and he ends up getting the manslaughter charge for it. And I didn't have to say a word. He ends up, you know what I'm saying? But I don't blame the dealers. I think it's just a bunch of kids getting high, and we know we're taking that risk every time we do it, but you do it anyway.
And part of the excitement now, this is the scary part about this fentanyl in the street. Part of the excitement now is knowing that you're taking a pill that may kill you, but it's the ultimate high before you die.
Yeah, you know what, Lee? That I was doing so much drugs at once that I knew I could have died, but in my head, it was like, I'm not gonna die. I just want to get high. You don't really think about it. You know it's fentanyl, and you're like, it don't, whatever. I'm doing this, and you know why though? When you feel sick like you do from opiates, man, you forget about it. You can't function. So of course you're gonna take that chance. I bet you they'd rather be dead than feel the way they feel.
Well, my brother Danny died 3 years ago. He took some pills and then he fell asleep in the living room and his face went into the couch and he smothered himself to death.
Hey, man. Sorry.
Then my sister Alice, a year later, she's clean and she moves back with her husband in Tennessee. Then one night she decides to go out and get a fentanyl pill. She goes home. She's watching TV downstairs. The husband's upstairs. She takes the pill. He comes down in the morning and he finds her dead in the chair.
Jesus.
You know, and so it hits everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, we got this thing going on in this country where it affects, there's nobody, I'm James, I'm sure you have stories too. There's nobody here that has not been affected by drug addiction.
Yeah.
Right.
It's bad. It's really bad now.
Yeah. And I know we're going from mob to, hey, let's face it too. Let me I want to ask you another question. You got Sammy Gravano, you got John A-Light and stuff. They're all talking about about drugs in general. But why does it seem like they've been on here bragging about how much drugs they used to deal?
Mm-hmm.
Do they realize at one time they put a lot of drugs on the street that probably killed somebody?
Well, did you ever hear the saying, you got to put the medicine in the candy? Now, if they do it the right way, they can get their point across because you got to draw the people in with the stories of, I was a big shot, I did this, I did that. So that's how you get people to listen to you. And then you got to incorporate you shouldn't do this. It's bad for you.
Right.
Because if you just come straight out like that, people are going to be like, oh, change the channel. I don't want to hear this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see a little bit, but it is ironic. It's funny because they were all like massive heroin dealers talking about fentanyl awareness. Like, come on. You're just trying to put on a good image so you don't look bad as a rat and all that nonsense.
Do you think that, you know, people are kind of weak-minded and they believe these guys when they're, you know, you as a guy that had went through drug addiction, when you watch this and then say this, do you say to yourself, wow, I can't believe that you guys are anti-drug now, even though you probably put a lot of stuff on the street that took people out.
I kind of laugh at it, but the most recent one, and this is like not to disrespect you guys or the sponsor or anything like that, but is you got the guy Dominic up there talking about you know, drug addiction awareness and then selling vodka at the same time. Like,
You know, you're not just, let me tell you one thing about our relationship with Dominic. We say what we want and he says what he wants. Our relationship is more of a business relationship.
right.
And that's all it goes.
All right.
And we would never ask nobody to say what they don't feel or believe. That's what it comes down to.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, dude, you're doing an oxymoronic thing right there. Alcohol is it's a drug. Let's be real. It's just a legal drug. It might be worse than most drugs. Jesus.
And you also, you know, look at these TV commercials now. They're everywhere. I mean, there was a time they outlawed these drug commercials on TV. They couldn't have them, and now they're back. And the reason that they, you know, Congress can ban those commercials tomorrow, but they won't because half of them in Congress are getting money from the drug companies.
Exactly. They're going to get money off the treatment. They're going to get money off the Suboxone, the methadone, the this, the that. Yeah, it's all money. They sell you the drugs, and then they sell you the drugs to get off the drugs, and then they sell you the treatment to get off the drugs.
Yeah, it's amazing. Then they got the rehabs that get money donated to them, and they got websites and all sorts of stuff. It's ridiculous.
It's insane. It's insane. It is.
Yeah,
and it's not working. It's not working either.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my issue with it. It's not working, but I mean, we could go on for days talking about it. I mean, we're not going to solve the issue here, but you know, it's just, you know, it's just interesting to me to see these guys that are now anti-drug and everything. But the thing is that I understand, like John A., like his daughter died from
horrible
fentanyl, and that's horrible. Regardless of what you think about him, it's horrible. You know,
terrible.
And hopefully John A. Light would say to himself, nobody knows what's in John A. Light's mind, so we shouldn't say.
Right.
That would be unfair.
If I could give one piece of advice about the addiction thing, it would be, don't listen to mobsters on YouTube about how to get clean. Go to like an NA program, an AA program. Go talk to somebody who has recovery time, like a year or better, and ask them how they did it and listen to them. Don't just listen to your favorite celebrity.
Yeah. And that goes for every damn one of them. They were all, that was part of the business of being in the mob, dealing drugs.
Absolutely.
When we're kidding, we got to, and they say, oh, this has been back in the 20s and 30s. They were dealing drugs. It was booze, and then it was drugs. Yeah. Then Lucky Luciano got kicked out of the country, went back to Italy, and became one of the biggest dealers, period, shipping stuff all around the world.
Drugs have been in the mob the whole time. I mean, that's one of the biggest wink winks there is, that, oh, the mafia isn't into drugs, you know. Maybe some of them weren't, but the amount of heroin and drugs and alcohol from before that has been trafficked through the mob, especially Canada and Sicily, is just mind-blowing.
And they got war going up, and with the Rizzuto family, they got this huge war going on right now up in Canada, and they're one of the biggest drug trafficking families around, and they work with the biker gangs and everything else to this very day.
That's crazy.
You know, and they don't have no RICO laws up there like we got here. So these guys these guys don't have to worry. Let's face it, the RICO laws is what really made these guys in this country start flipping, because they were looking at huge sentences.
Yeah. That's definitely one of the major contributors. When people try to say John Gotti brought down the mob, I'm like, come on, bro. There's the
most ridiculous thing, man. When John Gotti went to prison in 1991, the mob was still very powerful through the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, If I remember, Bill Catullo got killed, what, in the late 90s?
Was it 92 or 96?
Yeah, 90. Yeah, during the war. So, yeah, that was like after the
Right
war
after the
was
war.
over. You remember? They waited a few years. So, yeah, I
So
think
yeah, these
around
guys were still on
96.
the street doing a lot of stuff in the 90s when Gotti was already locked up, and all the families were making money back then, including the Genovese family.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's best to put the blame toward one person, but it's ridiculous.
you know, I did a video on that. My second to last video I just did. I tried to cover that, how the mob was involved in drugs, but YouTube doesn't really like pushing out the drug talk.
No,
Right.
they don't.
That stopped at 4,000 views, and that was it. And it's a great video. I recommend people check that out. I got into the history of some deep shit. But I missed a lot too. I kind of want to do a second one and make up on some other guys I learned were huge heroin dealers. Crazy.
Yeah.
So many of them. I mean, and you know, when they say that these guys that would kill people in the family, like Castellano, they said Castellano would kill anybody. Castellano was getting envelopes, filled the money, and he knew where it was coming from.
Yeah. You know, actually, that I wish I put in that video.
What's that?
Quack was caught on the wiretap with Gene Gotti saying that Vinny the Chin and Paul Castellano made a secret pact that if anyone's caught selling drugs, they're getting whacked automatically because they know they might snitch.
Right.
There was like little, it was never like this is the rule for everyone. I feel like all like families had their own rules on that shit, but they all sold it. That's just the bottom.
Yeah,
they had to sell it. They weren't going to be able to compete with the other families if they didn't have that kind of money coming
well,
in.
and a lot of them, there's just not. The thing is look at these. There was a lot of soldiers and even associates that they never had the ability to make money. You just put so much money on the street. You can have loans and all that type of rackets. But a lot of these guys, they don't have any business ability. And the only way they can make money is to sell drugs. That's the easy way to make money.
And most of the gangsters on the street were broke most of the time, weren't they?
Yeah, especially now. It's a lot of them were broke because they would. A lot of them didn't know how to take care of their money. Is whatever they did get, it went out. It's like hand to mouth. So yeah, that's what happened.
You're 100% right. Think about it. If they didn't sell drugs, they weren't going to be bringing in them hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
No.
Fuck no, not a chance.
There were only a few people like Sammy Gravano or people that had that union control.
Yeah. Or Michael with the gas scam that he got from the Russians.
See, that was that's a big myth too. Michael says that he created it. That money was going everywhere. That wasn't going just in Michael's pocket, like he says. That was all the way
about that too.
What's that?
I read something recently about that too. Actually, that it wasn't really Michael's scam. He was just one of the guys in on it.
Yeah. He actually made it better. But once he started doing it, other families came to him, more people more powerful than Michael, and they said to Michael, "Oh, we're getting a piece of this." And Michael wasn't in the position. You're going to say no to the Chin, or you're going to say no to the Gambino family.
Hell no.
Because that would be that.
When you hear he tells you, "Well, I went straight to Persico and told him you got to get my back at every sit down." I don't know if I buy that,
Well, Persico was also started thinking that that Francis was robbing the family too. You remember he was saying that he wasn't getting his part, and they had a sit down. That's what that sit down was about. That he talks about him and his dad had to go to sit down. It was over the money from the gas scam.
And that's very interesting when Mike talks about that, James, because he says that when he gets to that meeting, he learns that his father was there before him and left. And the father told them, if you got to take him out, take him out.
Yeah.
That's a guy who lived by them rules, man.
Sonny did.
Yeah, stone cold gangster, man. He didn't give a F. He's a real one, but that's twisted. Like, take out your own kids over what? Honor to who? bunch of scumbags, man. Fuck that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was Sonny. I mean, one of the best shows we ever done is we interviewed Sandra Petty.
Yeah. You're Mike, I think.
That's me?
Yeah.
Fuck. All right.
Okay.
Damn it.
Yeah, but Sandra Petty, yeah, you're right, Lee, and she wrote a really good book about the life of Sonny Francis. So hopefully it's not mine, is it?
It's not my mic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we paused you, and yeah, it's yours because we paused you and it went off.
If I leave, I could come back in.
Yeah, of course. You got the same link, right?
All right, what do? I just go in and I click that same link you gave me?
Yeah, and come back in. We'll talk.
You're sounding good. Well, now
you sound okay right now. We're only going to be here about another 10 minutes.
All right. That works for me.
Okay, so you know, I appreciate having this conversation. We kind of covered it quite a few things, and I like to ask you, what is your goal for your channel? Because it seems to me your channel is at the position where it can actually make you a living. Is that something you're planning on doing? Is trying to create your channel where it can actually give you a living?
100%. That's my goal. I've always been the type of person who wants to be my own boss and own a business. It's always been my dream. I didn't know it would be YouTube that would help me do it. This was like an accident, but I see the potential in it. I've been studying how to do this a certain way, and the ultimate goal is I want to move into, you know, a wider range of content, more like not how the true crime guys do it, like they're up to date every day on it and doing news reports, but just telling stories, interesting stories that are going to get clicks. Because when you're in the mob genre, man, they only want to hear certain stuff. It's weird. Like, you can't put out just anything. But I did a video on the movie Alpha Dog. You guys familiar with Alpha Dog?
Of course. Yep.
Great movie. That video, when I first put it out, it only hit 7,000 views. But over time, 6 months later, it's at 32,000 views.
That's been happening. That's what's happening. I'll give you an example. We put out videos sometimes that only get 1,500, 2,000. But if you go over to Social Blade, you'll see that we're averaging 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 views every day.
Yeah,
because people are ripping our library apart. I'll go back and look at something that had 10,000 views on it, and then it has 18,000 views in like one weekend.
It's awesome, man. That's how it's got to be. That's the best, man.
You want to hear something funny, Pat?
Yeah.
Last week, Ramondi got into it with Jeff Nadeau. So Jeff Nadeau did a show attacking him at 10 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
And we had a short with Ramondi in it. And at 10 o'clock that night, that short got another 10,000 views in a matter of an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
That's how, and people don't realize that's why your library is so important. You can have one video in that library where, say, a gangster dies.
Mm-hmm.
One of the busiest videos I ever did was when I talked about Sammy Gravano having, he got COVID.
Yeah.
And it took off, dude. It just took off.
It is crazy. So you never know which ones are going to go. I try real hard to think of stuff that are going to take off. And half the time, they don't go, man. The other half, though, they'll shoot up. It's weird like that.
You know, James and I will be here. We'll do a show and we'll say, oh, this is going to be big. Nope.
Yep.
You just never know.
Well, and some of our best stuff, you know, it doesn't always get the most views. It just seems like in this genre that people want to hear about the five families. They want to hear about Gotti or the big names, you know, the Sammy Gravanos, the Mikey Scars. And, you know, for me, I like more of the obscure stuff. You know, I like they were saying that we include, so what Lee and I will do, we'll include stuff that's a little more obscure within a show that ties. So like the Connecticut mob, the thing with Frank Piccolo, to me, that was a fascinating story, but people don't like it. They just want to hear the 5 families and the certain people.
We're dealing with a lot of novice people, you know, so they don't understand the deepness of it. The people who know want to know the stuff they don't know, but we're to bring in people because, like, that's a small community of people that know about all this shit. So we're trying to grab all the other people who don't know, so we got to feed them the stuff that they're gonna want to hear. It's just how it sucks.
And when they go for that small stuff, they know who to go to. They know the experts, like the real mobologists. I'm talking about guys that are just brilliant in this. They just know things off their head.
The archaeologist guys.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, there's some good dudes out there who really know their shit, man. For real. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, the goal is to move it on. I've been taking it really slow just because I've been so busy trying to get life together. I had to move out of an apartment, move in, like all this stuff happened at once. So I've been taking it slow, but I plan to start coming in, dropping like 3 a week. And I have a feeling it'll make me some pretty good money and I'll be able to do
it will. Yeah.
But I never wanted to put myself in a corner where I had to sell myself to get paid, because that's hard work. To have to get on there every day and be like, I don't know, get people to like me and fucking give me money. That's fucking hard work to do, man.
People have that gift. I'll give you an example. I did a live video the other day, my first one in the month. I made $300 in an hour. But I don't have it in me to go out and do that every day.
Nah, that's when you get caught out there slipping, looking dumb, you know? When you're out there just talking. You start, you make a fool of yourself. You're always going to double talk yourself and just, I don't know. You gotta keep it, compact. I love doing pre-records and just dropping them.
I love pre-record. You know something? And in the end, what it comes down to, the most important part of your show is your library. That's it.
I agree.
I did 3 shorts within the last 24 hours. And they're all put
funny. I heard you say something about that the other day. So I dropped like 2 or 3 in the past couple days. They both broke 1,000 already. So and
that's what keeps your numbers up.
Those bring you subs, That's what
they bring you. They don't bring you money, but they bring you subs, which eventually will bring you money.
You get like 12 cents or something off the them subs matters, because the subs equals views. Views pays.
Right.
I got my top 3. My top 3 shorts are on Anthony Ruggiano.
Oh shit!
And everybody, I would be shocked.
Yeah.
But all 3 of them have more views. They're like 30, 40,000 than any other shorts. And they'll go. They're every day they pick up a couple hundred every day for the last month. They don't stop.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah, they don't stop. So Ruggiano, that was kind of his. I think it's because he's good at telling the way he speaks.
Yeah, he's an
older guy, so people look at him. A lot of people don't believe him, but he presents himself well.
Yeah. Just listened to him the other day. His story's pretty fascinating. I was listening to his Vlad interview. His dad.
Yeah, it was a good interview.
And you can't take away who his father was. His father was a real hardcore gangster.
Super good.
Fat Andy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy who went on a run and went undercover with a biker gang. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, could you imagine a mafioso guy hiding with bikers?
Yeah, that shit's pretty wild.
Yeah.
It is. Smart dude.
That's smart, yeah.
Yo, I'll put you back on this one, Lee. It's all about the numbers, dude. The numbers, dude.
That's right. That's right. They laugh at that. It is. And I want to, before I take off, my man, before we end this, what would you like to tell? Okay, let me put your thing down here one more time. And another thing, guys, when you do videos, I used to make real long videos. People don't watch long videos. They like to sit down and watch them for an hour like it's a regular TV show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like about your stuff. Some of your stuff is 15 minutes to 30 minutes right in between there, right?
Yeah, basically. I aim for like 12, but they always end up longer.
Yeah.
much to tell. I got to get it all out, you know.
But if you're doing well, people are willing to watch them.
Yeah, my watch time's about like averages like 8 minutes, 30 seconds, which is good for.
That's very good.
Okay, people go to Wiseguy TV, and sub to his channel.
Thank you.
Really, really good stuff. And I'm not just, you got really good stuff, dude. And I'm hoping to see you put out a couple a week. But that's going to, the way you put them out, that's going to be another job in itself.
Yeah, I'm learn quicker ways, man. I talked to Lavecki on the phone one time. He taught me about the AI chatbot, the thing, but I tried it, but I was like, nah, this doesn't do it the way. I got to do it myself, and it takes time. I
don't like the way that it does the scripts. The AI can't do it right, and it just sounds very clumsy to me. It doesn't sound natural.
Fact checked, none of it's true. Like, you're getting bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. It's bad.
If there's one thing the audience don't like is when you put out bad information. They'll
correct you. You got some smart people in here that know. They'll correct you.
Oh yeah, they'll keep telling you.
You know, I felt one time we like Frank Fiordolini. He
Fiordolino, yeah.
Okay, I keep the O and the A. A is for female, O is for male. But he came on one day and he complimented one of our videos and said, "This is really good." That means a lot to me because that's someone that was actually out in the street and knows the life.
Yeah. You know, he did that on my Bay Parkway Boys video. He said, "Great job," and I know one of those Dinos was his cousin, so I was like, "That's a big compliment right there."
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Like we also quite a bit. We get Mikey Scars telling us a good job.
Yeah,
and you know, Mikey Scars is as gangster as it gets. You know, he was. There's nobody on here more gangster than him or Sammy Gravano. I consider them street guys. They were street guys in the street. Michael Francis was not in the street. He was a racketeer to me, you know, which is kind of different.
Yeah.
I don't think Michael would want to be in the street. He'd rather be in an air-conditioned office.
Like a violent type of guy. He did what he had to do, but he wasn't about that.
Right.
Which is the type of person I would have been if I was ever in that life. I ain't trying to have to kill people and fight people. No, I just want to make money and live a good life. Shit.
Yeah.
But
so Pat, what would you like to tell us before we end this about your channel and what's coming up on your show?
Basically, what I'll say is it's been slow lately, and I'm sure people are getting pissed off at that. You know, you start to lose people when you're not consistent. They start to get this. And I've been very inconsistent since my daughter was born. But all I'll say is stick around, because I promise you I'm not giving it up. I guess YouTube gave me an opportunity. They liked my stuff and pushed it. So just stick with me. I'm going to get on it, and we'll be consistent. Be dropping shows all the 3 times a week. That's the goal.
And James, before I shut the show off, would you like to ask anything of Pat?
No, nothing to ask, but I just want to thank you for everything that you're doing. I mean, you're doing it the right way, and you know, I always enjoy your content.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Okay.
I would like to get on Lee and James on my show too, and we could chop some things up. I would like to just talk about your journey on here, because I know for you, Lee, it's been crazy.
Oh, wars.
And we'll mix the content in too, so James could partake in it too. You know, talk about some.
Well, we'll work that out. We'll work that out. I'll put this up today, and whenever you want us on, you let us know, and then we'll do it that way also.
Awesome. And then I'm going to try to do the impossible. I want to get you on. Then I would want to try to get FBS on, and I would want to try to get Angel on. But I don't think that would ever happen.
I think you'll surprise yourself if you do it the right way.
I think we should tell their story so people understand why this is all going on. Because, you know, it's all over one person.
Better because I have James with me now.
Yeah, you've been doing great. And what's good about you guys, man, is you're very consistent. You drop videos almost like daily, and you drop stuff that's new. You know, you're like the new Gangland News, basically. That's how I feel about it. You guys are on
Thank
point.
you.
I appreciate it. Well, we're going to let you go, Pat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you
Thank
shortly.
you.
Anytime you want us to get on, let me know.
All right, man. And you guys got my number, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get in touch with you tomorrow for sure.
All right, thanks for having me on.
Okay. Take care, my
All
man.
right. Thank you.
Later.
Okay, James, what do you think? Very interesting guy, huh?
No, yeah, very interesting guy. You know, I just, you know, like I was trying to say, I know there was some interference with the mic, but yeah, I mean, I think he definitely puts out good content. He's a creator. He's a more of a creative type person, and so you know, and he is a perfectionist. But you know, I do like the content that he puts out, and so you know, it's just interesting. You know, I'd never really seen him.
And I
Seen
like
his
us to work
face,
together,
you know.
and I like us to work with him in the future, discussing subjects. Like
Yeah,
today, we
yeah.
went all around the place because it's the first time we ever had him on.
Yeah,
And I
sure.
hope people like it and enjoyed it for entertainment. James,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. And everybody, please like the channel, sub it, and underneath is Wise Guy, go to his channel. But please like and let me put this down to end it here. Please subscribe, hit the like button, to ring the bell. And thank you so much, James. Thank you. I appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
here. Bye.
Yep.